Hello, everyone. It's Gail McDonald here with Blind Spots, and today I have a very special guest, and we have been chatting for about 20 minutes before the show. And as I said to Paul, I'm really having a challenge to not smile so widely that I really can't talk, but I'll give it my best shot. Paul, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm just going to give the audience a little bit about you here. Paul is one of those rare humans, and I know that firsthand after spending a few hours talking with him over the last couple of years, whose kindness and care ripple outward. He reminds us that we perform at our highest when we choose to belong. Belonging so much more than the feeling we get from one another. It's the mutual choice we make for them to be ours and for us to be theirs. I just love that. It's the bridge to belief in each other and in shared purpose. To overlook our agency and belonging is to live in a perpetually lonely blind spot. Well said, Paul. Thank you so much for creating that information for us. And I am so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. And I can't wait for the audience to hear what you have to say.
Oh, God, boy, that was such a gracious introduction. I don't know what to do now. Now I'm going to be the one going, oh, God, what am I supposed to do with this?
Oh, you'll figure it out. I know you will.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And it is always so wonderful to see you and chat. I
Likewise.
gotta say, meeting you through Susan, just a beautiful thing. I am always grateful in my memories of the TV show thing, and I love you are great to talk with about the topic of belonging, just straight up. You have this just innate, beautiful perception of human beings that allows for an exploration as opposed to a confining, what's the word I want? Forcing of somebody to see things in a way. And I'm sure that has to do with your profession and everything else. But I think it actually has more to do with just this innate space that you bring to people. And I love it. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much. And those are very kind words. And yet I feel exactly the same way about you. And when we were doing our pre-show work, well, I wouldn't call it work. It was a whole bunch of fun. You were talking about space and how that kind of connects into belonging. And as I mentioned to you, Paul, I've always been curious about the inspiration that you had to get into this area of belonging, and you have some perspectives that I would love to hear on belonging. It's a huge topic, and it's understated, and it's so critically important. And as we had both said earlier, it's a big blind spot for most people. So I'm so excited that you're here to shed some light on a very, very important topic.
So thank you. And I just talked with a buddy. He's a senior leader in a company actually that deals with healthcare coverage and so on. And he got to listen to a very quaint audience with Vivek Murthy, the former Surgeon General. And I was talking about loneliness. And he said it was beautiful. And I got to say, it is fun to listen to Vivek, and I think he's beautifully insightful. But the spot, then when he was talking about it, I go, oh. And we look at loneliness. Well, how do you stop loneliness? I mean, you create this, you do that, you do systems, you do whatever. And one of the things that came to mind was, it's not the loneliness. Loneliness is just simply the outcome of a lack of belonging. And so I would say it's not a loneliness epidemic. It's a lack of belonging that's creating the symptom of loneliness. And I think if I go back to, why do we even care about this? where did this come from? I get asked this all the time. And
Yeah.
I still haven't come up with an answer that I'm even satisfied with.
Mm.
But I do know this. When I was 5, I left my own birthday party. This is pre-cell phone, so my mom was like, "What the f?" um, I had a friend. He couldn't come to the birthday party. He got in trouble. So I'm at my own birthday party, and apparently this is my mom telling the story. I left, and we went. I went to his house down the street. There are no cell phones, and so finding your kid is not the same as, oh, they're at so and so's house. But that is not where they're supposed to be. Call whatever. You didn't have that back when we were young.
Yeah.
So I went there, and so we ended up playing mud pies in the front. Used the hose, put some water in the puddle, and it happened to be also he got in more trouble because the pie pans were her new pie pans. But that's what happened. So my mom has to find me. I get in trouble because, of course, I left my own birthday party. Mom's got 10 other kids there without me. That's how she tells the story.
More cake for everybody else. That's all.
Right. So for me, what it was, whatever was going on, and so I can feel the emotion of it. Though memory-wise and articulation of the exact facts, I'm probably not going to do that good. But I remember going, I felt for him that he couldn't come.
Mm-hmm.
And he was my friend, so I took action. Now, I can guarantee you that's not what I was going, this is my friend, blah, 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 and doing this back then. I'm 5 years old. But so this has been a driver of me forever. And I'm sure part of that's the way I was raised as a child with mom and dad. And so it's kind of had this thing going, It's this space that looks at and outward and goes, how does that become an inward kind of space? Now, professionally, the biggest move that I did, I mean, I worked in the trades with teams of people that work with each other and for each other. So I got all these influences, guaranteed. Friends in special ops. So it's not foreign to me. And I'm lucky because it became a unifying driver for me. But when I taught high school, and I was back in 97 through 2000, I had a clear realization. I mean, I graduated from Seattle Pacific University, and it was a top school. I had the full year's lesson plan designed with active learning, different learning styles, highly context relative, broken down, like really, I mean, I still have this book of lesson plans that is about this thick from that year. Mm-hmm. Within the first week, I realized, this was kind of, I won't call it a waste of energy, but I will call it how good these lessons plans are doesn't determine how well the students learn.
Oh, interesting.
Literally, I was sitting in my classroom. I'm going back then to it. I'm time traveling right now, and it's just part of being visual and dyslexic. I see stuff. I'm not going to go, I see dead people, although maybe that has happened once, but you know that story.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there in the classroom going, if they know that I love them and they're mine, and that I am their teacher, they will find a way to learn, because that's the barrier. And I worked in a lower income, a poor area, poverty area was the lowest income per capita for English as a second language area in Seattle, and that's where I'm from. But I sat there and went, if they know, and then feel know, heart know, that I love them and that I'm theirs and they are mine, they'll find a way. And I made a complete shift. And I had that in play anyway. when I did my student teaching. I remember going to Ruth Hansen. She was the dean of the School of Education at SPU, and here I am. I'm doing my student teaching, and this guy, if you moved your desk off the spot on the floor, you got a demerit. It was a complete punishment slash weird reward system. And these kids hated every day of coming into the class. I watched them it's because I'm there doing my student teaching, walking and observing this guy, walking in the hallways laughing, and walking into the classroom in complete stop laughing.
Hmm.
And I was like, and I remember I whined. I went to Ruth. I said, can I get a different person to be observing in my student teaching? This is stupid. And I'm being all fussy and I'm doing the thing. And she just kind of looks at me and folds her arms and goes, "Are you learning what not to do?" And I went, "Oh, yes."
She's good.
Oh, she was really good. And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I said, "Yes." She goes, "Well, then you're learning something." Do you ever stop to think we put you there because we knew you could handle it?
Oh, wow.
Then I'm like, oh, you win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why do I have it? I wish I had a better answer. I love seeing when people really belong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different space. Um, um, and seeing that happen, and when I then took that to the classroom and started formatting this whole concept of actual belonging as a relational space, not a transactional space.
Mm-hmm.
When I did that, and I put the onus on the students to create belonging for each other in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
it was their responsibility to take care of each other. It was their responsibility to feel for each other. And I literally set this language in place in the classroom. I wasn't as refined as I'm in with it now, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
But when it wasn't me policing their behavior, it was them taking care of each other and shepherding each other back into the right space. My classroom self-managed. I had what was the group? Something for teaching excellence in Washington, or no, it was National Washington or Washington D.C. or something. It was the think tank, and they said, "You have," and I had a class of that one. That class had 45 students. It was a big class. It was a kind of like a vocational class, and they're like year students. They're all. I says, "Yeah, because it's their responsibility to make this class where they belong. It's their choice, and it's highly diverse. I mean, that's just where I grew up. But they did that, and when you watch and you see somebody in that space, it's like watching a high performing sports team, or if I talk to my friends who are elite operators in the military, man, there is a space of love where they are in neurobiologically, there's a shift. There's fight, flight, neutral. Everybody talks about that. The four things. Sometimes fight, flight, fawn, freeze, and then somebody does tend to befriend, and so on. But those are all the first section, the space of self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
In belonging, the neurobiological shift is to be in unite and fight. And I would argue that that's the default space. If you're in belonging, you may fight, but you're going to fight for each other and to stay in good belonging, which is different. Fight flight can make you fit in very easily, but that's fitting in. And, Brené Brown stuff, that's like you just lost your soul. And so when setting up the classroom, God, this is a long route to get to this point. I'm sorry. I'm actually discovering a little bit as I'm talking to you.
We're on it. We are on it. I'm hanging on your every word, and I've got a million things to reply to or ask you after this. So please continue. This is great.
So it was that space that people were no longer waiting to belong, but they were choosing to initiate and create the belonging between each other. I just had to set the environment in place. And it was so funny because coming back to the lesson planning had some classroom management stuff, but it wasn't from a tribal kind of neurobiological way that our brains actually work. I just had to stumble into it. I'm not going to say I'm brilliant on this. This was literally, I just was observing and going, oh, it's funny. If they're loved and they belong, oh, they find a way, regardless, to learn and do it and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have that, that's the first barrier. And in our brains, that's for sure what it is. If we were to look at it, make a little quadrant in your mind,
Yeah.
feeling and owning and caring for each other. There's I do it for them, they do it for me. Both are required to make it work. In the bottom corner, where neither has it, the feel and care for each other. In that space, it's like, yeah, why am I here? I'm always in danger because that's just what it is. If it's you have it for them, but they don't for you, then you're codependent and you're trying to fit in. If they have it for you and you don't have it for them, then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I here with these people?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't my space. But if you're both in that upper corner, the brain is completely freed up to focus on what you want because you're not going, I don't know if this is where I belong. These aren't my people. You don't go, I don't know if they're even going to make me their people. You're actually, I belong. I'm right here. So in that classroom, in five classrooms, 6 hours of a day, there was one place. And I remember saying this to the kids. I don't care what classroom you came from. Here we are this way. And so you come into that door, drop all that other stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
come in here because this is our classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember students going, huh? I says, what happened in that classroom before? You don't have to bring it in here. If you do bring it in here, we'll help you shed it. And I had tasked leaders in the classroom to take that encouraging shepherding to everybody they saw who was coming in with, oh crap, oh, I'm angry. That teacher sucked, or my friends abandoned me, or whatever drama that happens in high school. So that space puts them in the top corner because the initiation of belonging is in play. And that's where we get into that high performance where we can actually do anything. And where now I'm going to do this because my teammate next to me has helped me get to this. I'm going to do this because my teammate next to me is relying on me for this. And that's actually how we survived as a species.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, we did,
So I
especially
think
if we go way
I'll try to
back.
stop. I'm going to stop there because I feel like I'm meandering.
Yeah. No, you're not. It's great points. And what I'd like to share with the audience at this point, and I mentioned it too in our pre-meeting before the show, is the author Rutger Bregman, who I absolutely adore. He's written Humankind and
Hmm.
also Moral Ambition. And he speaks of, and I don't know if it's still operating, but in San Francisco, and it's easy to Google, it's a place called Delancey Street. Have you heard of it, Paul? Delancey
I
Street?
haven't. You give me
No?
something. I'm going to make a note of that right now.
Okay. It's just reflective of what you shared with your class because this community is where people go after they're released from jail. And we're not talking people that have, robbed a grocery store of a package of gum. We're talking like pretty serious, hardcore criminals here. And they have rules and they're accountable to one another. There's no guards, there's no one keeping score, no one telling them what to do except each other. And they have opened businesses. When I read it, in the book, they had at that time a bakery, a moving company, and it was very well maintained. They had condos and the grass was cut. There was no graffiti. And you got one chance, and not even one chance. Like if you were caught drinking, smoking, or doing
Yeah.
drugs, you were out. You had to go somewhere else. And it was a
Yeah.
psychologist that created this concept. They also had done studies as well, and apparently, and I could be a little off base here with the country, but I think Sweden was one of them, where they had incorporated this into their system, and it was working magnificently. And just to, encourage people to have a read or listen to those two books by Rutger Bregman, because they really helped me to understand how we are as humans and why we are. And we do some pretty interesting things. And might we be missing
Might
something?
we be missing a little bit? Oh, wait, a blind spot?
Yeah, a blind spot. Shocking, I know. Yeah.
I have heard about that group.
Okay.
I just didn't know. I just didn't remember the name for sure.
Hmm.
And it reminds me of, oh God, Wendy. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the author's name. She wrote from bad to good, or something like that. Oh
Hmm.
God, this is terrible. Oh, I don't know, I get over it. The concept behind this is there's a medical approach to addiction and so on, but you can also have a social approach.
Mm.
And I think that's where the oh my gosh, I have a teaching story that's going to fit with this. Oh
Okay.
shit. Um,
Oops.
yeah, no, but first, gosh, I can't remember Wendy's. She's an author. Uh, but when in the Vietnam War, all those U.S. soldiers that went over, it's estimated that 90% of them were addicted to heroin and whatever. So if we take the medical model, they have to have a medical approach to do this to get them off of it.
Hmm.
And we have lots of medical model for dealing with addictions and the behaviors that come from addiction.
Hmm.
What was interesting as in her study that she was citing was that they came back to the US and 90% of them got off the drugs,
Hmm.
not via medical intervention, but because they came back to their context and their social support and all that stuff. Now, where I was like, oh, this is amazing, because what this is talking about actually is the neurobiology of belonging.
Hmm.
When certain conditions aren't met for our brains to belong, and I don't know if this is not, I'm not going to dive into the definition at this moment.
Hmm.
So just stay in the feeling of when we actually belong. When that happens, the need to violate um, good social norms and conditions, put it that way, aren't there, because you're in your tribe and you're contributing in your tribe. You're being taken care of by your tribe, and so it's that unite and fight for each other. The neurobiology that comes into play, and that's a relational space. And this is why when I say it's not transactional. Our brains are functional. Like you and I are sitting here, and we're exchanging information actually back and forth, but it's belonging relational space. This is one of the reasons why you said, "Hey, would you be on my podcast?" I'd love to be on your podcast. There, I shifted.
I'll see if we can edit that one out.
You
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 may
can
get me
bleep
off
it.
the air before I get started.
I know, bleep it out, bleep it out. Uh, but So we're exchanging, even over this medium here, 11 million bits per second. Our brains are recalibrating and measuring and moving up and down, and oxytocin and serotonin,
Mm.
and our systems are designed to be in this state,
Yeah.
to find and create this state. And I
Hmm.
think if we talk about the tribal space of the Delaney Street, Delaney or Delancey?
Delancey.
Delancey.
Hmm.
Um, if we're in that kind of space and we created this, now we know the ways to belong and the ways we will get stuff done. So that's the twofold space that we always have. Because, and if I'm going to quick move into the workplace understandings, we do a lot of focus on the stuff to get done, your OOSs and everything else that are in play there. Your leaders, and we have a task to get this stuff done because we do this, the company makes this much money, and I get to keep my job and take care of my family. Mm-hmm. The other side of that, though, just like the Delancey thing, there's a set of ways that are the core to it. Yeah, thou shalt not violate. Thou shalt encourage and live. And same thing they had in my classroom. When you come here, you will not talk bad about each other. You will support each other. If there's a conflict, we will talk about the conflict, and then we will find a way to agree to get back into taking care of each other. And by the way, that actually happens in high school. So work is just extended to high school. So the tribal ways, one of which is, thou shalt not even encroach on the path that put you in this bad place before. Mm. That's the Delancey space. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the whole point is to support each other. Oh man, I miss it. I want it so bad. No, don't. You do that, you don't belong here anymore. Yeah. That's not fitting in. That's relational. And I think that's the part that people miss. They turn it into a transactional exchange. You get to be here for giving this up. No, I'm in here and I'm choosing to live by these ways because this is the tribe. Mm-hmm. I love that. Seth Godin's people like us doing things like this. Yeah. Yeah, how simple it can be. Yeah, simple but not easy is one quote I heard. Right. And you probably heard it too. But when you talk about transactional to relational, I also think of transformational, because it can be. Absolutely. Should you choose to belong, and you can fill in the blanks for me on this to a certain degree. And this was another one of the questions that I had for you. Is belonging a choice? Like, how do we know when we're getting in our own way? And yeah, I'm going to plug the podcast again when we have a blind spot. My answer will be your biggest plug too. Okay, let's do it. So when we have a blind spot about maybe even our resistance to belonging, like what is that about? Like how much of the responsibility to belong actually belongs to us to kind of get out there and figure some stuff out? So thinking in terms of like the students and everything else, the biggest blind spot is the unfortunate definition or understanding of belonging that we promote. And for the thing is, it is the biggest blind spot because we have completely disempowered people to create belonging because it's been a transactional model. And here's where I'll go with that. A relational model means you're taking action first on your behalf and theirs. And I think this is key because the model we're all given is this. You have a sense of identity, a sense of inclusion, a sense of acceptance, and you get to be authentic. That is the APA relational, not non-relational definition. It is Cornell University's, and the reason I said is theirs is up there first and foremost. I see it all the time. People quote a variation of it all the time. And the whole point is that's not belonging, to have a sense of any of those. Because that means you're in receive mode. If you don't get those, you fail. You don't belong. That's fit in. By definition, that's a transactional model of fitting in. So when I ask somebody, do you belong at your work? And inevitably, everybody starts with, well, I don't feel included. I don't feel accepted. I don't have this. And I'm going, oh, that has nothing to do with your belonging. That's affirmation. Because technically that's all that is.
Hmm.
Hey, I love the brilliant shades and the different purples on your shirt.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, does that mean we belong?
No.
No, not at all.
Not at all. No.
By the way,
I don't care what you care about my blouse. But thank you.
right.
Yeah.
And you get to wear that and be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm. Or it's the only
Period.
clean thing I had to wear today. I don't know.
Right. No, but the whole point is you get to be you. You get to wear your cool glasses. You get to wear everything with me. But does that mean we belong?
Mm.
No.
No.
But they are things of affirmation. Affirmation is important for human beings. We need to be affirmed. That's for sure. And this is where I think the huge mistake, the blind spot is we focus on that as belonging. When it's actually, if I ask somebody if you belong, and I don't know if I did this with you guys on our show, your TV show, but the first thing I'll ask is, do you feel, own, and care for somebody in your organization, in your company, in your marriage, in your friendships?
Yeah, I love it.
That's the first thing I will ask.
Own, and care.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. Feel, own, care.
Love it.
Have a shirt. Here, this is the diagram. Do you feel, own, and care for them in their successes, dreams, and failures?
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is, I don't know, you don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is yes, and then that second part of the question is this, do they feel, own, and care for you in your successes, dreams, and failures?
Mm-hmm.
If you get 2 yeses, yeah, you belong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are different depths of belonging, family, dogs, you name it. And the circles can overlap. And this is why it's so important in the work world. But this is where I define it. The belonging is a choice. It is not, it has feelings, yes. But if you define it as you get this feeling, you have no power in that agency. If it is, I choose to belong. I don't remember when we first met, but we choose to extend ourselves to each other, which means I have to give myself to you.
Mm-hmm. Which is vulnerability, which is
really
hard for a lot of people.
It can be really hard. But the thing is with that is it's a choice. Belonging is a choice. It is not, we need to stop defining it as I have to get these 4 things or I don't belong. Because the truth is you don't belong at that point. Because you can have all those 4 things, and if you don't feel, own, and care for them and their success, you don't belong. Mm-hmm. You really don't. You can have all those things you want. And it's vulnerable because I may feel, own, and care for you and offer that because it's always give, get. Do I have give, get on here? I don't know.
Maybe on the back.
The back actually has the different neural upticks that come into play when you're in a good state of belonging. It's all neuroscience on the back.
Love it. Yeah. And you'll have to share that before we sign off. Right? About the neural upticks. I love that. I'm all over that. Like that last post you had on LinkedIn where you talked about the oxytocin, and then you talked about the cortisol, which I don't want any more wrinkles, so I don't stress about anything because I don't want cortisol because that causes wrinkles, right? So I got to be careful at my age and be happy all the time.
It really, but that's the space I call the Team OS, and you only get that in belonging, the sustained state of it. When we're in a good state of belonging, like we've been doing this whole time, is our relating in a good space of belonging has been generating oxytocin and serotonin in each of us. Mm-hmm. And the cognitive and the neuroemotional upticks that we get from that are huge. The physiological that you mentioned about wrinkles and everything else, that shift in that is huge. Mm-hmm. It lowers your cortisol levels.
Yeah.
Just being in good belonging, you can be in the same exact context, not in belonging, and your fear will register at a higher level, which means you're then going to have a cortisol uptick.
Mm-hmm.
Cortisol is simply prepping you to evade not a good situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very slow, gradual saber-toothed tiger that you're still running from, instead of in about 15 to 20 seconds or whatever, I got away from it and now I'm okay, or I didn't and I'm eating. But it is that state. But to have that space of belonging, to identify it, stop asking, and tell us, everybody out there, there's just my echo yell. Stop defining it first of what you've gotten from somebody. It's a trap that means I have to get or I don't. That is a powerless position.
Mm-hmm.
Ask, do I feel alone and care for somebody in their second? And then making the choice, I choose to feel own care for somebody in their success. Now I'm offering that and initiating. Everybody has the power to initiate belonging with somebody else. It does not mean that you will belong with everybody.
Right.
But you have the power to initiate it.
Yeah.
You do not have to be in receive mode and sit around and turn into an incel. You just don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think of the distinction of unconditional love. Like, to me, it feels that if you choose not to feel like you belong, and as you said, what was it? Feel, owning, care. It's similar to, well, if you do this, I will love you more, or I'll love you less. And it's doing it because you want to.
Yeah,
And
it's an interesting thing, and I can say this from having married before and compared to married now, and I do things differently. I'm like, it's nothing that, but the in belonging, you make that offer, and it has to be reciprocal. And this is where I'll say it has a different bearing than unconditional love. It's because the action is relational.
okay.
So like, and this is where I'll say it's different. Would you stay married to somebody if your agreement was to be monogamous and the other side chooses not to be?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what level of unconditional love you have. You're probably not going to belong very well if your core and your values and positions are monogamous.
So okay, go ahead.
So
Yep.
where we're going with this is, so there's this aspect where, yes, there is the agreement and the belonging has a boundary. I belong with you, not with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a boundary in that space. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't, if you have no boundaries, you don't belong with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the
Boundaries are a
reason why I
part of
said
life.
they're essential to belonging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets funny, because in that space, if I all of a sudden start going, well, Gail only did this many times, and I did it this many times, the moment that becomes the focus, belonging breaks. And so that's why I say it's muddier than that. And maybe this is why people don't want to try to even think about it anymore, because it means, oh God, it means this could go south. It means they could say no. It means I could hurt their feelings. They could hurt my feelings. And that score tallying that we keep trying to define to create safety, really gets in the way of actually belonging with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I go with that it's a tribe always has a boundary. And so, and it's sort of where it's hard to throw a conditional or an unconditional space, because the truth is, you can love somebody and even have unconditional love, but that doesn't mean you can belong with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And that's making me think about how this can, because we don't sometimes have a choice who we work with. So how, yeah, that's a whole nother show. So how can leaders who sometimes have the toughest job on the planet, um, how can they, how can they influence? How can they create that culture of belonging? What does it take? Because you and I both know, because of the roles that we have, the career path that we've
Mhm.
chosen, that this translates to money.
Mhm.
And I talked a little bit about this on my first episode that was launched today. Okay, another blind spots plug. So,
Yeah.
but
Hey, plug
it's
away.
it's critical, because when there is dysfunction
Hmm.
anywhere, there is going to be a lack of
Yeah.
something. So,
Oh, absolutely.
so what are some, if you were speaking to a group of leaders right now, like what would you tell them about this, and how they might even begin to identify or even believe that this is important, because it's so important. So important.
If the leaders are curious about the performance of belong, um, my first approach for them is, what would your workplace look like if people fought for each other instead of against each other,
Mm-hmm.
trying to accomplish the goals of the organization?
Mm-hmm.
How many spaces do you have in your organization where two people are driving together and they get into a fender bender because they're both speeding to get stuff done?
Mm-hmm.
And they bump in. Are they giving each other the finger back and forth as they're trying to continue on and get to the end point?
Mm-hmm.
Or do they have care and understanding and feel for each other in the process, so that, yeah, they might step on each other's toes, or smash the fender, and then later on they still get it done, but then they can take care and put the cars in the body shop later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the space where, if you're going to lead and then create a unite and fight space, where there's a fear shift.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is a belonging aspect that comes into play. When you're in belonging, um, you have a fear for somebody. When you're not, you have fear of.
Wow.
And that's, I mean, I can give you so many cases of this
Mm-hmm.
from a workplace standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
where two senior leaders, they were senior directors, are basically in a fight, and it's stopping the process for, and this was one of our largest clients, Verizon Wireless. And my job was to get them to belong, so that the fight didn't stop the work. The stepping on each other's toes at that point, the fender bender, would be, okay, we stepped on each other, we got pissed for a moment, but I'm yours and you're mine. Let's keep going forward. Now, that's the second part of the shift, pardon me, which is, just like you, the fear moves from fear of to fear for.
Mm-hmm.
Aspire at the expense of to aspire with is the other transformational, since you mentioned transformational earlier, is the other transformation. Now it's, we're going with, so we're going to do this together. And so I sat them down, and it was really kind of an interesting conversation. And we got to the point where it's like, you're both play for this company. You're
Mm-hmm.
both on this team.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know what it would take for you guys to come back together to play for this team because you chose to work here. We chose you. So can you do this? And it was really funny because I remember them sitting down, because I talked to one, I talked to another because the CEO was like, hey, we got a problem. Will you please deal with this? AKA leader going, oh crap, we're not going to get something done that really matters to the largest client we have in, in the USA. So we can have that stuff and it's really rough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sit down, I listen, and I extend. And I'm basically inviting them back to being in the tribe of the company and to take care of each other. It was, I think, the following week. Things are starting to work. They chose, because remember, it's about choosing, not coercing.
Mm-hmm.
Invited them back. They decided, and later on, it's like, I heard from both of them in two separate occasions in a week. You know, we just forgot. And you know what? We're so much alike. Blank, blank, blank. And I really appreciate her.
Hmm.
And what it took was not to sit down and say, you guys need to collaborate, work together, be better together. It was actually to invite them back into a space where they could see themselves as the people that are working together for each other. Now, after that, they talked, they communicated, they didn't put the other one at risk in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for to help a CEO get that means the CEO has to set that context for the company. If they want to have elite, like Navy SEAL performance, um, they have to have a space of belonging. Otherwise, everybody's transactional.
Mm-hmm.
It's quid pro quo, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And in that space, maybe the threat of not providing for your family makes somebody do something. But they're doing that, and their focus is always in, I'm having to take care of my family. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
That's a dividing space, which means no matter what level of focus and performance they're looking for, it's been restricted because they're worried about taking care of their family. And that's a different thing. Like if we go back to us as ancient savannah people,
Mm-hmm.
we would go out and not be an individual, whether it's on a gathering space where there were other creatures and things that could get you, or a hunting space where you were going out hunting and maybe even having a dangerous animal to take down.
Mm-hmm.
You had your hunting party, you had your gathering party who were part of the tribe. That's the natural space for us to go. So that CEO, if they can understand that they get to create that space, and if they do, now the care that they get because they can take care of their family is stacked with the belonging care that they have for each other in the team. And you've doubled their ability for focus. And I think that's the key thing to get for somebody to understand their ability to perform at much higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it requires, because the brain requires this, that they feel, they own, and they care for each other and successes, dreams, and failures, and it's mutual. And that becomes I actually refer to this as the belonging culture operating system. And then you have your organizational operating system, which are the technical things you get done,
Right.
and how you do them as a company tribe. Because everybody can do the technical things.
Mm-hmm.
It's, can you do them where you're fighting for each other instead of, fearing for each other? And fear for is good. I asked a CEO, I made a child caring story for him. You're on your way to work. You turn on your computer. You pick up your coffee. You're taking a sip. You're starting at your email. You get a text from your spouse, and your spouse says, "Hey, our son's in the hospital. I'm gonna go over there. I don't have anything right now, but I'll let you know when I get there." And I asked him, "Can you work?" And the answer is no. And it was a really cool group. It was 25 CEOs sitting in a room.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and then what had happened was 2 years earlier, he actually had that exact thing about his daughter who was in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going, wow. And he's tearing up. And I'm like going, could you work? And he goes, no, I couldn't effing work. I couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I said, cool. I says, that's your belonging neurobiology in action.
Mm.
If your people belong, they have that level of care also at work.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to offer that.
Whoa. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
And it's literally, it's just a matter of modeling and setting the stage and making that, just like I had in my classroom. The ethos was, you come into this classroom,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You are each other's in this classroom. In my classroom, now, just like a workplace, you may become a CEO, take over a company. You didn't bring all those people in, but you have a choice. And the choice is, if you chose to work here and we chose to hire you, you choose to belong here in these ways.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what happens, there is either a stated and lived by or an unstated and what actually gets lived by.
Yes, yes, sir. There sure is.
and
Wow.
and
Wow.
that's the kind of shift.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I pulled up the graphic,
Mm-hmm.
which actually has the brain with all the stuff on it. If you want, I can bring it up now. Granted, for somebody listening on audio, they won't hear it, but I can put
Yeah.
it on the screen.
Okay.
You
All
want to do
right.
that?
Yeah. So I will just give you
Let me.
permission. I think I have to do that. Multiple
Yep,
participants. Okay. There we go.
that's
Um,
okay. So
it's all
there is
yours.
the. So here is, and is it there?
Ah, it sure is. And I absolutely love it. This was the post that I was referring to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Great
let's
for
see if I
visual
can.
learners.
So I'm going to zoom in here.
Mm-hmm.
How do we
Super.
look?
Great.
We look pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
Just missing the two-way arrows a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah.
So I was
Okay.
just sure. So so this is the context, and our brains are always looking for feel on care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thing in terms of anybody, like if I have a friend and the friend doesn't give me the feels all the time, but they say they're my friend, and
Mm-hmm.
they may even show up at times, I'm always like going, yeah, you don't ever really show it.
Mm-hmm.
You suck, dude. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Or if somebody like this was a funny one. I had a CEO who's told me that the belonging was a bunch of BS. I don't know about this, and so I asked him about if he was married. Yes, and I go. He goes. He basically said, "I don't own my employees," and which I thought was funny. Do you hear what you said? I didn't say that, but I don't own my employees. Yes, you. They're yours.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked him, he had a wedding ring on, and I says, do you have any, it was October, do you have any events you're going to go to? He goes, yeah. And I go, so wife's name was Sheila. And I go, here's what I want you to do for me, okay? I want you, when you're introducing her to somebody new, you're going to say, this is a wife, Sheila. And I just sat there. And he goes, oh,
She one of many or what?
he goes, I ain't effing doing that. You think I'm stupid? And I go, right,
Yeah.
because she's your wife. And if you
Yeah.
do that, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But it was so, because this is how we miss it with our own language even
Yeah.
and care for. So
Yeah.
this is the thing that we're always checking for. Every employee is checking for this. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have good belonging, you get oxytocin and serotonin, and that's the Team OS thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I made a little goofy brain,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll zoom in again to
I
it,
love the brain. Mm-hmm.
and there's the brain,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's kind of fuzzy. I need to make it higher resolution. So it's FOC belonging, otherwise sometimes called fucking belonging. That is
Mm-hmm.
from a dear friend,
Mm-hmm.
Vicky, who said that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I hadn't thought about it. Um,
Mm.
when you're in belonging, you get sustained levels of oxytocin and serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of reading of a bunch of very boring journals to find out if it was true or not. But I had a hunch, and it turned out I lucked out.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get this and you have this sustained space, you have higher levels in the ability to empathize, to cooperate. You can see the list there: social motivation.
Mm-hmm.
This is the big shift that comes in for people. And earlier, we were talking about how we will fear less. It has literally been measured and tested that with oxytocin, you feel reduced risk.
Mm-hmm.
When that risk is down, it leaves more room for interpersonal trust, your ability to recognize somebody emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why when you think about like a Navy SEAL team, or one of my favorites is the U.S. Women's World Cup winning team, it's incredible. You have this performance uptick readily available in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with serotonin, the lower half that I have there in the brain. You're repeating fewer errors. I mean, this has all been tested and looked at and studies like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Not from years ago, but from more recent. But you get higher recall, you get clearer decision making. The thing that I found interesting, what I was looking for, because I was listening to my spec ops friends, how they would be much calmer under very, very high pressure. And that's I got this. Matter of fact, everybody gets this. When you have that thing where, somebody tells you this, and it's like, are you going to be able to do this? And you're like, I got this. Because you've been in this calm, good state, and I'll call this self-belonging. And you go, oh, I can do this. Piece of cake. And that is, you actually have a serotonin level that's allowing you to do that. You want your employees to be able to have that access. Well, the easiest path to that is simply to provide a space of belonging, because then someone knows, I'm going to go for it. Yo, I'll do it. Let's take this on. Let's go figure it out. You're always saying, I want you to say yes and figure it out. Well, if you want somebody to say yes and figure it out, then you better create a space where they belong, so it's way easier to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where these are the elements. And I can send you these graphics, and we can you can make them available to people if you want.
Oh, that would be wonderful. When
So
you were, oh, I love that one. Yeah.
So this is the one about it's one way and powerless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the sense of belonging. Here, I'll ask you this just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Would you work for a sense of a paycheck?
Oh, I never have, which is why I'm not a millionaire. If it wasn't fun,
no.
I didn't want to do it. No matter how much I got paid.
Right. But this is the same thing. We actually don't function for a sense of belonging. Mm-hmm. Our brains are literally designed to create and find belonging. We just keep getting told this model, which prevents us from it. It's just kind of one of those kind of fun things. This is the more clear model than my T-shirt. I'll do one more. It's okay.
Yep.
This I think is maybe for a CEO a message.
Mm-hmm.
When your people belong, they take action way sooner than if you think you're creating psychological safety. Mm-hmm. Because I will guarantee you that if it's someone that you belong with, you're not going to wait till it's perfectly safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And therefore stuff gets done quicker.
Yeah, and
more efficient.
And yes, so much more. Mm-hmm. And it's where I think this is kind of like the fun thing that I guess this is what I loved about even my classroom. Mm-hmm. My students were in the belonging line versus the safe line. They were learning web development software. They were learning business concepts. Mm-hmm. And they were trying this stuff out, not because they had a fear that they wouldn't get in trouble. That wasn't the issue at all. It was that they belonged, and it was exciting and fun to learn. Mm-hmm. I mean, I mean, I can remember like going, oh, you can't write stuff like that. And that aspect of them moving in that way, they learned so much. Actually, beyond what I even thought the lesson plans were gonna do by a mile. Um, I'll do one last one because those are just the big versions. But this one, this is what shifts in us. Um, Good side of fear. Everybody says be fearless. No, I want somebody who's gonna. I am gonna jump in. I'm gonna learn more because that's gonna make me never be able to let them down. In my mind, even though I will because I'm a human being. In this to the aspect of we're always in fear, we're always in or out of belonging, and we're always in an aspirational space. And the aspirational one, I got to give good credit to John Medina in this book, Brain Rules. Brain Rule 12 is we are explorers, and oh boy, are we explorers. And it's simple. In belonging, it's fear for instead of fear of. And in our aspirations, it's aspiration with instead of at the expense of. Like the two senior directors, they were aspiring. They wanted to do a great job. They were working their butts off to do a great job. But they were in a state of aspiring at the expense of. And I think there's only one space we don't do that stuff, and that's in belonging. So yeah, I'll stop the share unless you want to see.
Sure, yeah, it would be great to see our faces as they are meant to look instead of little teeny tiny,
right.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Well, my brain, I just realized today there's so much I don't know. And you've taught me. It's complex, yet we can simplify it. We just need to get out of our own way and stop overthinking it. And in the realm of work that I do, I think about how emotional intelligence, which maybe sounds a little transactional, but just getting to know oneself better and getting to know, the areas that you have strength in, but be cautious not to turn those strengths into a weakness because we can be too much of a thing. And
Absolutely.
That creates not of another. And someone shared this with me the other week, and I can't remember who, but it was very impactful. And all they said was, if you're saying yes to something, i.e., yourself, and not considering belonging, what are you saying no to? And the context they had that in was for people that are in that place of people pleasing. I'm a reformed people pleaser.
People pleaser.
Yeah. I mean, I still will do things for people, but I reconsider, what the thing is and who the person is, and can I even do it and do it well? But to stay out of your own way and know what you're saying yes to, know what you're saying no to. Consider perspective. Perspective is so much. We could have a whole nother hour on that, but I know we're kind of running out of time here. So last question. Yeah.
Maybe this. Okay, actually, maybe let me shut up and hear the last question because it might be the thing anyway.
Well, that's true. Thanks. Good catch. As one says to a life coach, right? Okay, give me a minute. Let me get back on track here. I think I forgot what I was going to say. Yes, I got it back. So if you were to summarize what you've said today, because it's a lot of information, and again, thank you for the education, the perspective. I've got so many things to think about. I have a headache, but it's a good headache. What would you say? What could you tell our audience that would perhaps inspire them or motivate them, if you will? I think those words are different, but I won't go into that. That could just get them started. Like, what would they need to maybe look for inside that would make them think, geez, maybe I need to really give a think on this and and think about this belonging thing. You know, the as you said, feel, own, care. I got to memorize that. Where would someone get started, Paul? This is a lot to digest.
Yeah. I'd say this. I'm still thinking. Good
Okay.
thing this is going to be edited.
Well, we'll keep this piece in.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The most important thing, the biggest blind spot that we have is we've lost keeping the you in our us story. We
Okay.
define ourselves, like you said, in the people pleaser space. I got to do it this way. If I don't, I don't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is you've actually stopped belonging. And the key to that is to choose to feel, own, and care for yourself and the other person. It's the space of self-belonging, not belonging to yourself,
Yeah.
but self-belonging, that choice. And I'll use to leave. If you leave from listening to this, do one thing and do it all the time. Do I feel, own, and care for them and their successes, dreams, and failures? And do that for me. It's a
Mm-hmm.
3x3. Feel, own, care,
Mm-hmm.
successes, dreams, and failures. That's
Love it.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And to look at that as a bidirectional space. And it doesn't mean just, it's so you know if you're in belonging or not. And that's a practice. Ask the question. Ask the 3x3. Feel, and care, successes, dreams, failures.
Mm-hmm.
6 checks. If all the checks are there, oh damn,
Yeah.
that's cool. This is why I feel a certain way, and this is why I can perform a certain way.
Yeah.
And this is when your feeling in that space determines your well-being, and that the Indeed workplace well-being study was just phenomenal on this. It's just incredible. It's a 25 plus million submission study. And it's based upon the economics of better business, just by
Wow.
the guy who
Okay.
did it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But to ask that 3x3, and then, and this is absolutely essential for one's technical well-being inside, which is, do I feel, own, and care for myself in my successes, dreams, and failures, and listen to my inner voices there?
Wow.
If an inner voice is only feel, own, caring for me in my successes, and it's not in my failures,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably in a bad place.
Mm-hmm.
So to self-belong, to take the choice and say, when you're in, you got to do this when you're feeling like crappy set of words. Like, I was doing it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Oh, that's an inner voice. Feel, own, care, success, dream. That is not a good inner voice.
Mm.
Now, here's the context in that voice. Because that voice could be correcting me also.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about whether it's positive and supporting me.
Yeah.
It could be saying, Paul, you dummy. No, don't act like that. Do this. Get your head straight. Get prepared. It's the right thing to do for the person. That means don't be lazy. You've done blank. Now, that's an inner voice. Now, what's that inner voice coming from? I could trace that inner voice to my dad, who I lost a couple of years ago. If you're going to do this and that's your person, then get your butt in gear and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work so you show up prepared, because they're yours. I learned a lot about belonging from my dad, but that's an inner voice thing. That's my dad's voice. I co-opted it. It's my voice now, but I have a whole pool of voices in there.
Wow, that's really scary. Which one are you now?
You do not want to be in my head. No, but
I get it. I get it.
I know you do. You just shared about being a former pleaser.
Yeah.
But so when you leave, feel, own, and care for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
your successes, dreams, and failures. Because the truth is this: if you don't do that, you will never belong with somebody outside. But there's a trap there. If you don't belong with others, you're going to have an unbelievably tough time in real belonging with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our brains are wired to sit across from the beautiful person from you
Mm-hmm.
and just belong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your choice. You do not have to be a victim of circumstance.
Right. Right. Wow. Well, the
That
biggest
might.
thing I'm taking away are the six words. Six. That's great. Yeah. 6 words. Feel, own, care for your successes, dreams, and failures. Do you do that? I don't do that. I'm gonna start practicing that. I think
Okay.
that's really impactful.
I mean, you know this as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's always hard at first.
Yes. It's so hard. And you know what? Not just at first, but sometimes throughout.
Yes.
Sometimes you're
Oh,
just having a day. Um, Total transparency here. Health is very important to
yeah.
me. However, I had fruit flavored Cheerios for supper last night. Just saying. Now, I didn't beat
Wait. There's such
myself
a thing
up.
as fruit flavored Cheerios?
Yeah, I couldn't find Fruit Loops. So, and neither one are good for you, right? They're so crappy. But
Oh, I love it.
I'm not apologizing. I'm not embarrassed. I enjoyed them. And will I do that tonight? No, no, not at all. But it felt okay. I was really feeling, owning, and caring for myself by having fruit flavored Cheerios. So,
Okay. Okay. Do you want to? Can you dive in with me on this and tell me where that voice was either co-opted or it could be just yours?
which voice?
I'm gonna treat myself with Cheerios,
Oh,
flavored
oh,
Cheerios.
it was totally 100% me, right? Because I mean, typically I have a bigger lunch, so I'm not really hungry at supper. So
Mhm.
this is so off topic, but you know,
I did.
I'm sharing this with people because it's okay to do that. You don't have
Yeah.
to be perfect 100% of the time. And this is a big task to learn to
Mm.
belong in the way you have taught us today. And
That's the key right there. In the
mhm,
failures too.
yeah, 100%. We are not perfect. We never will be, but we need to strive for what we believe will help us be our best self.
Yeah.
And I mean, you and I have been on this journey for a really long time of
We got a few years.
self-development. Yeah, just a few. Um,
We got a few years under the belt.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes we just fall off the wagon. However, I have found that I fall off less with
Mhm.
the behaviors I would maybe deem not great, like eating fruit Cheerios for supper, and get back on quicker, and not finger point at myself and go, who does that? You had fruit flavored Cheerios for who does that? Oh, you know what? Way more people than we want to believe.
Okay, I'll here. Do you want to? I've had frosted mini wheats for dinner.
See,
I
there you
freaking
go.
love frosted mini wheats.
So we feel,
But
own, and care for each other by
absolutely,
supporting our bad dietary habits.
they're kind of like that. How would you? We talk about self talk all the time, and self
Yes.
talk. Like I'm admittedly not a proponent of imposter syndrome. I
Okay.
literally believe that actually has more to do with simply because technically it's not even an actual term
Mhm.
in the scientific, the DSM and whatever else.
Oh, interesting.
It
Okay.
is it it is an issue of self talk, which means in your self talk comes from your self belonging.
Mm. Mm.
And I think it actually has more to do with how we self belong um, in our self talk, that whether we're good at this or not. It means we've let an inner voice in play. It doesn't mean I'm an imposter.
Hmm.
It may mean so I have an inner voice that says, well, how would your best friend talk to you?
Mm.
And it might be, well, maybe you should have done more preparation.
Hmm.
Maybe it might be, dude, you've done like so many of these talks, you can do this with your eyes closed.
Hmm.
Either one of those can be a corrective. and a supportive set.
Yes.
And I think literally going into that pull, you said off the wagon. And I thought, and it's like, I had an image of reaching down to yourself and pulling yourself back up on the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you would do for somebody else in the belonging. You wouldn't let them drop off and be drugged.
Yeah.
That you'd be pulling them back in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so,
So,
I think that,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking
yeah,
of that, extend your hand to yourself as well,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Paul, we both know we could go on forever,
Way too long.
and oh, not at all. So any quick final last words? I'd also love for you to tell people where they can get a hold of you in case they want more information. Where do we find you, etc. And then we will hug and say goodbye.
I can say, we'll do the virtual hug and say, you can find me on my website, heartbasedleading.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on LinkedIn. Those are my two primary spaces that I publish and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am on X, I guess it's called now, but Twitter. I'm on Substack.
Mm-hmm.
I can send the links to it, but primarily the website is heartbasedleading.com.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Haury on LinkedIn, but nobody's going to get the name spelled right, so heart-based leading is easier.
Okay, that sounds great. I can't thank you enough, my friend. What's interesting to me and always has been is we haven't known each other for even 5 years. And we haven't met in person.
Um,
And there's something. I just feel this really kind of genuine um, connection. Like you're the real deal. So um, I know you're a busy guy, and I can't thank you enough for taking, I don't know how much time we've been talking right now.
yeah.
So yeah, and I know we will see you around. And once again, thank you. And for sure, check out the rest of Paul's information, especially your LinkedIn posts. And it is Haury. And you can hear this again if you forget, Paul Haury, because to me, your visual posts really make an impact. And so I really do appreciate the heartfelt work that you do put into this. So thanks so much. Thanks for joining me on Blind Spots and hug, virtual hug, right? So, yeah.
Big.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Paul, take good care and thank you so much.